Okay, I have not done one of these babies in a while, so Hentai Review. I decided after a viewer mentioned it to revisit the one anime I praised, and sure enough, I was not disappointed. S Expedition by E Blueberry. So, what has changed? What has happened since the 4 years when I last reviewed it? Well, a lot has progressed in the story, but as far as artistic capabilities go, has anything changed? This is where it gets a little weird, right? So story-wise, it actually is really good, to the point that I'm no longer invested in the sex. But the art style does fluctuate. So in some scenes, the art is just fucking phenomenal. Like, I will stare at this alien's butthole, not because it's a butthole, because the color scheme is so unique and the details put in are just so beyond the mind's comprehension. I was thoroughly shocked in some of these scenes just how good the art was. But then the rest of the panel in the comic was again mediocre. It's a very unique, as the hentai comic frequently goes these weird dips in art quality, but then it picks back up in art quality in other segments. It was very noticeable, especially in the sex scenes. I understand the idea behind it, like, oh, they're fucking so fast and everything's a blur, but sometimes things just seem way too smoothed over. Like, details are clearly missing. Again, I am a critic in all things, so for me, I like my hentai to be like Alfie quality. So take what I am saying here with a grain of salt. I have fapped into a silver condom, some could say. So, how does the theme of the comic work? Well, the theme of it all is adventure. And boy, oh boy, is that what we get. I am not joking. By the end of the slides that I got to, it was slide 600 and something. I must have been introduced to over 100 alien species. The artist E. Blueberry has a very unique flair for alien designs and has no lack of creativity of how other alien hominids would look. And it's so exciting to see an artist who not only can make such a comic, but can also be endlessly creative in their ideas of what extraterrestrial life could look like. I'm not joking, there is a scene that made me laugh so fucking hard, where the guy, Jack, gets a love letter from an alien that is a pure crystal slash shape, geometry, polygon, whatever. And when she gets turned down, she immediately asks Jack if it's due to the fact that her species is unable to have sex. To which Jack is like, I mean, not to be a misogynist, but yeah, that's totally the entire issue. It was so fucking funny. She got his ass so good with that question. Is sex really that important to you, or are you just a dog? It's like, yeah. Now, the tone of the comic is really well done too, as the tone changes appropriately depending on the dialogue and the situation. Now, from my last video, I did note how male characters were poorly drawn and minor characters barely got many details to them. Well, it seems like E. Blueberry was watching my video, I guess, because now every character I see has an equal amount of detail put into them. Like, there's a scientist figure, I forget her name, but she has all these cool gadgets and suit gear attached to her, which before in earlier panels, she wasn't that fleshed out. Now she's like all drawn up. I was like, oh my god, is she a main character? It's awesome to see that after all this time that the artist took that criticism and made a lot of effort in the color schemes, especially with that. Now, something else that's also really, really awesome is the X-ray scenes. God damn, do I love these. There is a particular person who has a heart-shaped uterus, and oh my god, it is so good when you see the X-ray view of it. I swear, Blueberry just loves drawing X-ray scenes, because I love watching them too. I will say this though, that the sex has been tapered down a fair bit. This is not a complaint, but actually a praise. So yeah, you heard me right, it's an appraisal. Some adventures are so engrossed in their task that sex becomes a reward to finally get back into it. Other times, the sex is so abundant that it's rather noticeable how the artist fails at timing. So this is where, again, it leads to a drawback, which is the timing. In many sex scenes, they're over in like 3 slides. I'm not joking. It's like, it's really confusing. I'm having a hard time putting it into words here. So, it's sometimes disappointing and it's sometimes very confusing. The sex stuff happens so fast and occurs so rapidly, you don't really get that feel of sexual tension. It's like the sex is over in 2 seconds and then they go back at it again. But meanwhile, they're screaming and all this dialogue about how long they've been going at it, when again, the art and the pacing and the style, it just feels like it's over so quickly that it leads to me being rather confused. Is the sex going on for hours like you're saying? Or is it only lasting for like 30 seconds? Because it looks like it's lasting only 30 seconds. He just stuck his dick in and he's already coming. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, again, I feel like that's something that the artist can work on, is establishing longer sex slides. So there is a difference between abundancy versus length. And I think that's something that the artist needs to work on. It's okay if you have a lot of sex, especially when the sex only lasts like 5 seconds. But when you're having a lot of sex and then you're saying, oh yeah, that was like 6 hours, bull fucking shit. But on the other hand, kind of like Alfie, again, I always compare hentai to Alfie because Alfie is a fucking masterpiece. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just amazing. When you have a sex scene at the end of an adventure, it could be like 20 slides later that we finally get to a sex scene, and that sex scene will be just about 20 slides long. It feels appropriate to the timing. It feels appropriate as a reward. Someone like Blueberry, I feel like they kind of need to learn that. What is pacing? What is timing when it comes to these scenes? So, spoilers here, spoiler warning, because now I'm going to talk about what has happened in the main story from 4 years ago when I last saw it to now. So as we left off, there was a new member on the team, a small, pink, cutesy type of girl that turns out she's like 100 and something years old, but she looks like a child. Yeah, annoying when artists do that because I actually don't like that. But the gang assembles where they track down a bounty, and this alien is inside of a suit that sprays acid on people and things, destroying them entirely. Powerful stuff, right? Well, it turns out inside the suit is a woman who has this ugly arm. And I am serious, this arm, if I saw it, I would not stick my dick near that because it's just disgusting. Well, it turns out the nasty plant, whatever the fuck she is actually on a noble quest. And the gang decide to aid her for a bit. And by a bit, I mean like literally like 5 slides. And then she's gone. She is very, very brief. But even then, she joins in on the orgy just because she's bored. And she's like, it sounds fun. As I said, cancerous tumor arm that shoots acid, no dick for her. But the main character, Jack, does so anyways. Here's where the story really captures me and invests me. So the cutesy pink girl that I talked about, who's all lovey-dovey with Jack? Yeah, shit is about to go down. The gang is called in for a bomb removal job. It is interesting as they scour the village and disarm the bombs. 3 in total. As they deal with the bombs, the pink girl just kinda disappears. She falls under a bit of rubbish and finds a gigantic bomb. I mean, huge. This was nothing that was in the briefing or the intel. So her deciding to set out and prove that she is a fully capable member of the team and to show Jack that she is worthy of his love, she sets about to disarm the bomb herself. But tragedy strikes as she does not know which cord to snip and ends up exploding herself. See, I am just a YouTuber, so I talk fast, so it may seem like a rush, like wait, she just joined and now she's dead? Let me say this. It doesn't feel that way the way the artist did it. See, again, Blueberry is very interesting because she really draws out the tension of this bomb about to go off and the pink cutesy girl is trapped. She really draws out the despair, the emotions, and she shows the tears swelling up in this girl's eyes as she realizes death is upon her. Well, the bomb goes off and the gang is looking everywhere. They can't find her anywhere. So finally Jack goes, okay, I don't know where the fuck she is, but we're gonna search for her. So he decides to contact this extra dimensional being and gives him something in return for his services. Well, the extra dimensional being looks through Jack's belongings and decides to take a plunger because he thinks an Earth plunger is just a weird fucking device. So he gives Jack the ability to see in the past, not alter it, only to witness events. So, Jack is this ethereal, invisible thing, and he sees what happened to the girl. She is at the bomb, and the whole time it replays the scene, and it was really tugging at my heartstrings there. It was actually pretty good. And Jack is talking, and he goes, there was only supposed to be 3 bombs. And then he sees her tampering with the bomb. He's like, oh no, why didn't you come to me? Oh, you fool, what the fuck were you thinking? Oh no. And then he hears what she's saying, and she goes, Jack, I love... Boom, dead. And Jack comes back to the ship, and he is fucking torn. And all the other gang members are just kind of hanging around him, just comforting him. Like, he is really torn. He's no longer this carefree, stick my dick in anybody kind of character. Now he's kind of like really torn up about it, where he starts to just become more dedicated to his crew. In other words, in the beginning of the anime or hentai, whatever you wish to call it, he pretty much always wandered off and they would always have to drag him back to the ship. Now he's actually very dedicated to the mission. He's very dedicated to his team, his gang. He's very dedicated to his harem. And he ensures that they are all safe. And it really shows in one of the next scenes where they end up on a planet and they accidentally get captured and knocked out. Jack wakes up in a holding cell and he immediately is scared, not for his safety, but for the girls. Because again, he is very, very, very scared of losing anyone else in his life. And that's where we see this new Jack emerge. He's just very, very cautious. He's very interesting. He's very more loving, I guess you could say. And it really captured my perspective into the story. I was like, well, shit, homie, this is getting good. But I'm going a little too fast here because I skipped something very important. The polygon creature, the creature of triangles and shit, yeah. That's all part of a mission where they had to infiltrate a college. And while they're infiltrating a college, Jack is just more or less trying his hardest to blend in because they're undercover. But they're on a swim team, and they're supposed to do a swim team where it's like boys versus girls and versus other colleges. Problem is that he's not very good at swimming, and he's just wiped out. He's just tired as hell. And the girls do cheat when they're fighting the boys. Like this one girl, she's a teenager, I guess, like By teenager, I'm guessing like maybe 20 years old, 19 years old. She tries to get the ball past him, so what does she do? She dives underneath the water, pulls down his trousers and kisses his dick, and then comes back up because he's obviously distracted. He's off in Hornyville now. And then she gets the ball from him and scores, and he's just like, that's such a dirty trick. Now, what's really funny about the college stuff is that Jack has a roommate, and his roommate is called Ard Deek. I'm not joking. His name is Hard Dick, basically. And he's just this giant boulder guy. I was like, oh my god. I am not sharing a room with a man whose name is Hard Dick, and he is taller than me. He is tougher than me. Hell no. My masculinity is beleaguered. I am not doing that. But turns out he's a cool guy, so whatever. Well, Jack keeps sneaking off and having sex with his girl, his blue waifu. But it turns out that her sister, who's always been refusing to partake in the orgies, claiming that her virginity is best reserved, and that she thinks that they're all disgusting for having sex willy-nilly. Turns out, she's been masturbating this whole time because, mind you, her bed is like literally 10 inches away from their bed. There's not even a wall in between them. And she's just flicking the bean. It sounds like fucking wet macaroni, just fucking flicking the bean. And it turns out they hear it and they know that she's very interested in having sex with Jack. And it turns out that was the issue. She's not against sex. She's not against their orgies. She's against Jack because she loved Jack from the moment she saw him. But she wished that he was more of a monogamous guy instead of a polygamous guy. Well, her and her sister talk and they say, let's just switch beds for the night. And sure enough, Jack sneaks into the bed and has sex with her, and he goes, oh, wait a minute. Oh, shit, this is you? I'm so sorry. Let me pull out. And she's like, no. Keep going, please. And that's when we find out that her nipples are literally heart-shaped. Yeah, heart-shaped uterus. You can guess who we're talking about now. And of course, she's like the cutest one. She's very shy. But then she, after this first sex attempt, she becomes very vulgar. Very, very much vulgar. Well, besides that all happens. Their mission's done, blah, blah, blah. They stop pretending to be college people. They go back to the normal routine. And they come up to the captured moment that I talked about. Well, this is really interesting because the one girl, his main waifu, the main squeeze, his first waifu, she gets a cybernetic implant, which at first I was like, ooh, can she no longer have sex now, except orally? Nope. Turns out she can remove the suit, but it's cybernetically grafted to her skin, so she will never be able to remove it, but she can still have sex. It just forms this cute little tramp stamp button on the back of her butt and forms this little neck collar. Basically a zone telling you as a guy, hey, you should kiss this region. So either way, she can still have sex. That's great. And that's really all that there is about that. And they pick up some guy. He's just some sort of dragon lizard guy. I don't know who the fuck he is. But he's a swordsman nonetheless, so he joins their crew. And he talks about how in his culture, they are designated to be with only one partner for the rest of their life. And how he thinks Jack is a very lucky bastard that he has 5 women in his life. And this is where it gets really, really, really good. You see, you may recall, my good fans, that in the first comic, I was so captivated by one character. And I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I think her name is Eli, or Ely. And the reason why is because it's spelled like E-I-H-L-E. It's a weird spelling, so I'm thinking it's Ely or Eli. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Ely sounds good to me. I can fap to Ely. Well, Ely was the most phenomenal, interesting extraterrestrial I've ever seen because her vagina has tentacles in it. And those tentacles draw your dick in even deeper. It's oh my god. Jesus, my eyes and my toes would curl because if a woman actually existed like that, bruh, goodbye Earth women. Goodbye Earth women. I would only be with these people for the rest of my life. I'm sorry. It's the truth. Sorry, you just don't have tentacles in your pussy. I'm not interested. Sorry. Gotta break it down to you like that. Well, she has been mutating this entire time. And this was something that they kind of said before, was that she's actually a mutant of her kind in some way. Mind you, she didn't have a mouth. So she looked really cute. She looked like really, really cutesy, like really nerdy, really innocent, really cutie. But now she's been mutating for quite a while. And it turns out she developed a butthole, which is just weird. She just developed it now. And with an anus comes a mouth. And that's what she's got now, is a mouth. Her design, though, is really well done. I love what Blueberry did. She made it where she has like these black spots that form specific patterns and shapes. Like her neck is very black now. She looks foxy, okay? I feel like Dracula from Billy and Mandy. Hey, foxy lady, look how Dracula dance. Dracula don't suck, he scrape and lick. Like, yeah, that's how I feel when I be looking at Ely. Oh my god, she's foxy. And now she's wearing outfits, and of course, it's like black with her grayish, blackish skin. And then she has like this orangish hue coming out of her. So she just looks fire, man. She looks foxy. She good. And her mouth is really cutesy. But I wouldn't stick my dick in there because it turns out her teeth are like razor fucking sharp. So besides that, you're all caught up. Now there is more, like 100 more slides past it, but I decided to stop here because I was like 300, 600. We'll do in increments of 300. Sounds like a good deal to me. So besides that, comment down below there. Tell me what you guys think, and don't forget to subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm the only one who does hentai reviews on good hentai. And if you're the artist, Blueberry, please talk down in the chat and share your Patreon. She does have a Patreon, so if she shares it, that'd be great. But I really do hope she continues this series, and I do hope that she or he, I'm assuming Blueberry is a woman just because someone said it was a she at one point, so I'm assuming could be a dude, but I'm assuming it's a she. But I would really hope that she continues improving, because again, I could see the improvement from slide 300 where I left off to now. There is definitely an improvement. It's just, again, there is some weird dips sometimes, and there is some things that need improvement. We're all human. We all have things to improve upon. Besides that, this has been Freezer700. I am out. See you guys next time.